Oh no. Tech freshman.
All right.
No, it's for their production.
Okay, are you ready? So here's kind of the plan for today. We're gonna do pretty short notes today. Then on Friday, you have a review. And then next week on Tuesday, you'll take test number 2 for this one. Okay, and it'll be over logs and exponentials. So if you'll just take a look at your notes today, they're gonna go by pretty quick. So try to get maybe the idea of it on the first few examples, because we're not doing that many. So up here at the top. Okay, there are certain constants that occur in nature that we have special letters for. Okay, one of them that you might know is used in the circumference formula of a circle. Can anyone think of what? It would be pi. Very good. Okay, pi is a special symbol that stands for an irrational number, 3.14, blah, 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 blah. Okay, there's another one, and it is E. Okay, and E is the base rate of growth for continually growing processes. So exponential growth, exponential decay.
I don't know what that means.
So like exponential growth would be like, think bacteria in a petri dish. Decay would be like a half-life or like a substance, yes? Correct, that is not the same. All right, so.
Oh, it's not the same?
Correct.
Oh.
Okay, so if you have a log little e, okay, there is a special button for that in your calculator, and it's called LN. Okay, which stands for natural log. So anytime that you see LN, that stands for natural log or log base E. Now, the good news for you is that because LN is a type of log, all of the rules that you already know for logs still apply to LNs. So for example, if I have the ln of x times y, I can split that into the ln of x plus the ln of y. Okay, why do the log properties apply? Because an ln is a specific type of log with a base. Okay, what about if your ln has divided things? How can I split them? Subtract, so it'd be ln x minus ln y. Okay, and then the last one is that if you have an ln of x up to the n, remember that you can take this n from the top, you could drop it down to the front. So it would be n ln x. All right, so we're basically going to do the same several things we've done with logs on this day. So for number 1, I want to expand. That means that I want each expression to be in its own log. The 9, the x, and the y are all multiplied. So when I split them up, what operation will I use in the middle? Addition or subtraction?
Addition.
So it'd be log 9, oops, not log, sorry, ln 9 plus ln x4 plus ln y4. And then what do I move next? Yeah, the exponents, remember, those can both drop down to the front. So your final answer would be ln 9 plus 4 ln x plus 4 ln y. Okay, but remember that when you are expanding, everybody gets their own log. So they all start out together, but when you separate them because they were originally multiplied, they'll end up added. Okay, take a look at the one right next to it. Okay, my 10 and my a are multiplied, but then I'm dividing by the square root of b to the 5th. And remember that if I'm dividing by the square root of b to the 5th, that means that one is going to get a plus or minus. Which one? So you're going to have ln 10 plus ln a, but then minus ln 3b5. Okay, then I know you just had hopefully the most lovely long weekend. Okay, but square roots can turn into a specific type of exponent. What does a square root go to? 1/2 or a half. So then if the 5's already there, remember I just cut the 5 in half. So if you want to put a little note here, remember that a square root still equals a half. So then I cut the 5 in half, and then remember I'll still drop that down to the front just like we did last week. So your final answer would be ln10 plus ln minus 5/2 ln.
Wait, how do we get the 5/2?
So a square root is a half. And then when I go to put the half up top, since the 5's already there, I just cut the 5 in half. Okay, now let's go in the reverse direction. So when you're expanding, you're separating. When you're condensing, you're putting them back together. It's the same steps, but in reverse. So looking at number 3, what numbers can move up? Okay, the 7, anything else? The 3 will go up on the Y and the 2 will go up on the Z. Then when I put the guys back together, remember anything with a plus ends up on top. Anything with a minus ends up divided on bottom. So it'd be ln x7. Where will the y3 go? Top or bottom? Top. Where will the z squared go? Bottom. Okay, so just kind of see if that makes sense. It's the exact same rules, but rather than you writing log, you're putting ln for natural log. Okay, take a look at number 4. Any numbers in the front have to bump up. I'm talking about this 1/2, this 2, and this 7. Okay, then from there, we're going to put everybody back into the same log. But remember, it's an ln log, or a log little e. Okay, I have my a and my b to the half had a plus in between. How will I combine them? Multiplication or division? Multiplication. And then my c squared and my d7, those both have minuses, so they'll end up on the bottom. So it'll be over c squared, b to the 7. Okay, I am not going to box that as my final answer yet, because what can I still do? That 1/2 power is going to switch to a. So your final answer would be ln a root b over c2 b7. Okay, Albert, you put it away, please. All right, go ahead and turn to the back when you're ready. Okay, this is the last little bit of your notes for today, and then we'll be done. Now, you can only solve E's and LNs with a calculator. So if you don't have one, anybody need one? All right, on the back side, you're going to see that you have a question for ln. I want you to rewrite that as 4 little log e. 4 little log e, because remember that ln means log little e. So this is the same as this. Okay, so rewind to last week before you had 4 days off. What would we have done first to solve? Get rid of the 4. The 4 is multiplied. How do I undo it? Divide by 4. What's 12 divided by 4? 3. So I now have log little e x minus 1 equals 3. How do I get rid of a log little e? Remember, big E, yeah? So I'm going to big E and big E. And big E and log little e are inverses. So I have x minus 1 equals, and then because this isn't like 3 to the 5 where you can use that chart that I gave you, you're going to just put it into the calculator. So let me show you how to do that. Okay, do you see on your calculator the LN button? Okay, it's right here. Right above that, you're gonna see e to the x. That's the e that we want, right here. So to access it, you're gonna push second ln. You're gonna push second ln, and then we're gonna put a 3 in the exponent. So I got 20.0855. And then how do I get rid of the -1?
Yeah.
Add it, thank you. So it'd be +1 +1. X equals 21.0855.
Wait, how'd you put it in the calculator?
So it's second ln. And it'll open E with a little box. You'll put a 3 in the box.
How'd you get the century?
12 divided by 4.
Yeah.
All right, when you're ready, take a look at number 7. I want you to pick the number we need to get rid of in number 7.
Wait, I thought. Oh, why do we add 1? Sorry.
Because it was the x minus 1.
Oh,
Yeah, so then to get rid of the -1, we just added it across. All right, number 7. What number are we getting rid of first? The +6. We're going to do that with a -6. So I have ln of 2x equals 3 minus 6 is going to give me how many? -3. Now, if you want to rewrite the ln every time as a log little e, you can. But just think about if it's an ln, you know that's a log little e. Then how do we cross out an ln? We need to use a what? Big E. So I'm going to do a big E on both sides. So E and ln always cross each other out. So I have 2x equals. And then instead of e to the 3, I need an e to the -3 this time. So second ln. And then you're putting a -3 in your top box. Okay, it comes out to 0.0497. 0.0497. Then from there, what would the next step be? Divide by 2. Now remember, in your calculator, I know we talked about this last time. But you want to take the whole number and divide it by 2. Okay, don't shorten it until the very end. So my answer is going to be x equals 0.0249. Because it's 8 followed by 9. Okay, next one, take a look at number 8. What are we getting rid of first? Okay, 1/2 means divide by 2. How can I undo a divide by 2? Multiply by 2 on both sides. So I'm going to times by 2 here and times by 2 here. Now notice you can't touch the stuff in the parentheses. Okay, the 2.5 are going to cross each other out. Okay, but that middle part isn't going to get touched. So it'll stay an ln x minus 5. 3 times 2 is how many? 6. Okay, then in your head, you remember that an ln is a log little e. How do I undo a log little e? Big E on both sides. So in your calculator, x minus 5 equals whatever e to the 6 is. This is going to be a bigger number. Okay, e to the 6 is 403.4287. And remember, we're going to keep this decimal long until the very end. And then, sorry that I don't remember what your homework says to round to. So that's fine. But add the 5 across. Take the long number plus 5. And that gives me x equals 408.428. Okay, most likely your homework is round to 2 or 3 decimals. I'm just not sure. All right, take a look at number 9. You have ln e to the 6. What happens when ln and e are together? They cancel out. What's the only thing that's going to stay? 6 equals 2x. Well, then now we don't even really need the calculator for that. What's our next step? Divide by 2, x is going to be Okay. Take a look at number 10. I have two LNs and they're added. You cannot E both sides if you have more than one LN on the same side. So we need to combine them. How can I combine logs that have a plus in the middle? Do I multiply or divide to put them together? So it's going to be ln multiply x times 2x would be a 2x squared. Okay, think about if that makes sense. X times 2x is 2x squared. Then from there, how can I cross out an ln? What do I use? Big E. So I have 2x squared equals, and then remember, we're just putting that into the okay, e to the 3 is the same thing it was before, it's about 20. What would my next step be? Do I take the square root or do I divide the 2? Make sure you should divide the 2 first. So I'm going to divide this guy by 2. In the calculator, remember, I'm taking the whole decimal, divide by 2. They don't shorten until the very end, or you're going to get a bunch of rounding issues on your homework. Okay, then it's 10.0427. What's the last step? Square root. And then it'll be square root. Then if you don't want to type the number in, just go up and push enter on it. It'll put it into the box for you. So x equals 3.169. Okay, do we feel like we can do that? All right, then we just have 3 questions left. What if we start off with an equation that has an E in it? So take a look at number 11. How can I get rid of a big E? What would undo that? An ln or a log little e. Remember, those are the same thing. So I now have, I'm going to rewrite this, ln of e to the x minus 5 equals ln of 14. And then these guys cross out. So if you start with an ln, you're going to put the e. But if you start with the e, you're going to put the ln. And remember, we just found this button on the calculator, yeah? So do the ln of 14, and let's find what that equals. ln of 14 comes out to 2.6390. Okay, then from there, how do I get rid of the minus 5? Plus 5 on both sides. So I have this plus 5 gives me 7.6390. Questions on that? 2 questions left, number 12. Oh, thank you. This should round to a 1. Very good. All right, take a look at number 12. Okay, it says 4e to the x minus 8 equals 4. What do we need to do first? Can't ln yet. We got a lot of numbers we got to get rid of before we can ln. I am going to have to divide by 4. What do I need to do before that? Plus the 8. So make sure you're doing PEMDAS basically backwards. So if there's an add or subtract number, you want to undo that first. So I have 4e to the x equals 4 plus 8 gives me 12. What would I do next after that? Divide by 4. 12 divided by 4 gives me 3. And then for the last question for e to the x, how do I undo big E? ln. And then to know what the ln of 3 is, remember, you're going to use the ln button. Now, let me show you something. Maybe you don't care, but pretend like you do, okay? So if I want to know the ln of 3, I can do this. Or, do you remember how to find the log base? Alpha window. Go down and put an E in the little box of 3. And you see that you get the same number? Wow, because log little e and ln are the same. Okay, that's your answer. 1.0986. Wow, love it. Okay, last one. What should you do first? 13. Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry.
Saw that.
Just got on a roll. Sorry. Are you ready? Okay. So looking at number 13, remember you want to get rid of any add or subtracts first. What are we getting rid of?
1.
And it's a -1. So to undo a -1, I'm going to do a +1. So I have 1/3 e to the x equals 10 plus 1 gives me 11. 1 divide by 3 can be undone using what operation?
Time.
Times 3. 3 and 1/3 cross out. E to the x equals 3 multiplied by 11 gives me 33. And then remember, to get rid of a big E, you're going to log little e or use the ln shortcut, but we know that they're the same. So I'm going to ln and ln. Okay. So from here, you could either do alpha window 5, put an E as your little number, and then have 33, or you can use the ln shortcut, which is obviously much faster. And that would be your answer right there. That's 3.496. Okay. Would you, I think we need to maybe do one together. And would you like some scratch paper? Sorry.
I'm not. Probably not gonna let it go. That noise my father. And.
Yeah. Do you guys need paper?
How a pat. I bet he's gonna be strict on.
Paper?
You can see in that.
I have to hide them from all my classes. Stealing them.
High blood.
I've taken 2 of them. And so I keep not letting them use them, hoping that eventually they'll give it back.
Maybe it was just a mistake and maybe it walked out with it.
Probably is, but I'm like, just check your back. You know?
That's like regular.
And Raul, did you?
Like you know it's something that is.
All right. Can y'all see your homework yet? Okay.
Actually, no. Oh. What?
Yeah. I do. All right, y'all should be able to see it. Yeah. And then you can plug it into this. Okay, y'all, actually, maybe we don't have to do one. You can do it?
Yeah.
Hundredth means you're rounding to 2 decimals. Okay? Which one is what? The homework?
Is your calculator, do you get your calculator?
You refresh your browser. Cause I had it hidden.
Can you get your calculator to auto round?
I don't know how to do that, but I'm sure you could.
I mean, you got these things. With,
Oh, you do?
why are you asking?
Yeah,